I think we can all agree with the statement that Hoyoverse isn't its worst spot yet. I'm not necessarily talking about the revenue because, let's be real, I know the money is still flowing, but when it comes to public perception, community trust, and player sentiment, it's a completely different story. Genshin Impact is entering 6.0, and instead of players being excited for it, we see people quitting the game, alongside with major content creators, the same ones who's carried the community throughout the years of content droughts and are now leaving en masse, all because the game simply is not fun and they're tired of it. Then there's Honkai Star Rail, the game that had the most potential out of all of them, with the first year being a major success, and after that, it's been a downhill ever since. With absurd HP inflation, characters needing a whole football team just to make one of them work, power creep every other patch, and no matter how many times the players voice their concerns with their trash storytelling, they still keep implementing it in. And then there's ZZZ, a game that had 2 soft relaunches and players still don't want to play it. We all know that ZZZ is the black sheep for Hoyoverse, a game that simply just sucks and doesn't seem to be getting better anytime soon. And in the horizon, Hoyo is soon to be dropping their Pokemon game that quite literally no one asked for, which is most likely going to be getting sued by Nintendo anyway, so I don't know. Now, taking all of this into consideration and knowing that we're soon to be entering the golden era for gacha games, this is the worst time for Hoyo to be fumbling. With anime GTA 6 Ananta right around the corner, Azure Promelia being the first gacha game to bring a Pokemon aesthetic to the genre, Duet Night Abyss turning heads and changing what it means to be a gacha game, to Silver Palace showing off some elite level gameplay, I think within the next 1 to 2 years, Hoyo vs. Falloff will be inevitable. And to be clear, this isn't just a people being bored problem. This is a trend across all Hoyoverse titles. It's a systematic and dev team issue. For years, we've seen the same pattern: a strong launch, hype through the roof, massive marketing pushes, and then the slow decay sets in. Because instead of building on the core gameplay, Hoyoverse seems to be focused on implementing some of the most money-hungry monetization tactics in the industry. Another thing worth pointing out is how out of touch the company seems to be with its community. Players have been extremely vocal, whether it's about resin caps in Genshin, the HP blow in Star Rail, or the dull gameplay loop in ZZZ, and the response from the dev team is always the same: quite literally nothing. It creates this feeling that the devs are designing for investors, not players, and in a genre already filled with cash grabs, that's the fastest way to burn out your most loyal fans. Now let's talk a bit more about the creator scene too. Now, views across the board, whether it be HSR or ZZZ, they're all on the downtrend recently, and it's not a shocking thing to see. Both games are going through their dry periods and fans are fed up. But when it comes to Genshin, well, YouTube and Twitch views are still there, but yet we're seeing major CCs leaving and turning their back on Hoyo for good. Why is that? Well, it seems like creators are no longer prioritizing lining up their pockets while selling their souls in return. Creators are now realizing that these games are bad and they're shifting their careers to different avenues that doesn't restrict them on what they can upload and what opinions can be said in their videos. Hoyoverse is well known for paying off their creators to throw out propaganda, and it seems like creators are finally taking a stand. And when the creators leave, the community loses momentum, discussions die down, hype fades, it becomes a cycle of silence. And once you enter that spiral, it's hard to climb back out of it. And beyond the games themselves, we got to talk about Hoyoverse as a brand, because this isn't just a gameplay crisis, it's becoming a reputational problem. There was a time when the name Hoyoverse sparked excitement. Do you all remember when they announced HSR? We were all super hyped. When ZZZ was announced, everyone was ecstatic. Now when they announced Honkai Nexus Anima, pretty sure the consensus reaction for everyone was, how bad is this game really going to be? They built a reputation for style over substance, and the reputation is starting to catch up with them. But the thing is, I think Hoyoverse might think they're too big to fail. The money is still coming in, the App Store charts are still showing them at the top, so in their mind, they think everything is okay. But history tells you, once a company starts thinking it's untouchable, that's when the decline actually starts. Another angle we need to talk about is how much the gacha audience itself has evolved, and how Hoyoverse seems to be completely out of sync with that shift. Back in 2020, Genshin came out during a time when the average player just wanted a game they could sink hours into. People were locked down, life was chaotic, and a beautiful open world with cool looking characters and dailies felt like a gift. The bar was different. But now, it's 2025, players are older, smarter, and more critical. The average gacha enjoyer is no longer just chasing dopamine from polls. They want satisfying gameplay, fair monetization, innovation, and respect for their time. Hoyoverse is still acting like their player base is frozen in time, like they can recycle the same design blueprint across multiple games and everyone will just eat it up because the presentation looks polished. But the audience has matured. There's also a bigger cultural shift happening, one that Hoyoverse seems to be ignoring. People are starting to push back on predatory monetization and exploitative systems. They've seen other studios try new things, they've been exposed to gacha systems that aren't as predatory, and they're tired of the same old slop from Hoyo. And Hoyoverse, they're doubling down. They're fine with the criticism as long as the cash keeps flowing. But again, history shows us that this isn't sustainable. We've seen other giants fall because they couldn't adapt to the shift in player expectations. Blizzard, BioWare, even Square Enix in some areas, the pattern is always the same. Ignore feedback, prioritize money over fun, watch the community rot from the inside out, and simply get replaced by hungrier, more creative competitors. Hoyoverse is not immune to that cycle, and the more they act like they are, the faster they accelerate toward inevitable failure. Now, if we zoom out for a second, this isn't strictly just about Hoyo and their shortcomings. It's also about what the rest of the industry is doing right. The gacha space is a continuous evolving space that's growing more and more each year, with monetization from games like Wuthering Waves, Duet Night Abyss leaning towards being more consumer friendly, with games like Ananta and NTE changing up the open world scene, with games like Silver Palace changing up the combat appeal. The gacha space is further growing into something big, but Hoyoverse continues to hand out this slop on a silver plate and expect us to eat it. Players are ready for something new. The market isn't just waiting for the next big gacha, it's begging for change, and we've seen it with Wuthering Waves, but the space needs more of it, and it's not enough. But at the end of the day, I have to give Hoyoverse their flowers. They're basically the granddad of the gacha space, the one who shaped the whole scene into what it is today. Who knows if we'd have some of the peak titles we see now, like Wuthering Waves, or exciting upcoming games like Ananta, Silver Palace, and Azure Promelia. Hoyoverse didn't just make a game, they created a phenomenon that lifted the entire genre into mainstream awareness. They showed what's possible in terms of production, quality, and global reach. For that, I'll definitely give them the respect and the credit where it's due. But here's the thing, they just gotta pack it up and call it a good run because it's just simply not cutting it no more. So yeah, Hoyoverse isn't crashing tomorrow or the next day or the next month, but the inevitable failure is soon to be approaching, and I can't wait to see it. Because either way, my used to be favorite games will start to get better, or this company will perish away. What we're seeing now is a studio that used to lead, now playing it safe, cutting corners and falling behind, and the players, we've noticed it. We're not mad, we're simply just moving on. Because once people realize that there are better games out there with better systems, better respect for your time, and devs that actually listen, they're not coming back just to finally see how Genshin Impact ends after 2 decades later. I promise. The era of Hoyoverse dominance might have been great, but like every dynasty, it doesn't last forever. And this time, it's not drama that's killing them, it's their complacency. But at the end of the day, those are just my thoughts and opinions. I raise this question to you folks that stayed here to the end of the video. Do you think Hoyo's empire will never be fall within the next handful of years? Or do you see their reign on the gacha industry continuing for the years to come? Let me know in the comment section down below. I always love hearing from you all and responding to you as much as possible. For those of you that don't know me, yo, what up? My name is Smagsen. I make discussion and challenge-based content for Wuthering Waves and HSR, and we'll be covering a handful of upcoming games like Ananta, Duet Night Abyss, and Silver Palace. If that sounds like something you might enjoy, make sure to hit the sub button and turn the notification bell on so you don't miss out on any future videos. If you enjoyed this video, I'm more than confident you'll enjoy either one of these videos on screen. On the left, we talk about how Wuthering Waves is completely outshining other gachas in the big four, and on the right, we yap about how I quit ZZZ and decided to give Wuthering Waves a shot, and how I regret not giving it a better shot earlier. But that's all I got today for you freaky frogs. I hope you all take care, stay safe, stay blessed, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace, peace.